Hey there, welcome to Contracts and Chaos. My name's Alyssa.
And I'm Brenna, and we're here to tell you that you are not alone in the mayhem of this real estate industry.
We're keeping it real and sharing our stories, strategies, and successes in today's real estate world.
So come join us every Tuesday while we talk contracts and chaos. Golly. Okay.
Okay, let's do this. All right, do you want to
Jamie
just start
Kern
again?
Lima. Yeah, we read a book. We read a book by Jamie Kern Lima. She's the co-founder of It Cosmetics, and she wrote her first book was called Believe It. Also a good book, but we just read the book Worthy, and we're gonna
We're going to talk about it.
review, no, not
Review.
overview,
Book
review.
report. We're going to give a book report.
Oh goodness. Okay.
So I think at first we should give a little background on who she is, just a
Okay.
short. So Jamie Kern Lima, yes, is the founder of It Cosmetics, who actually is the foundation I wear. I don't have any on today, so if you're watching this, this is not a good testament to what her makeup does. But she started in sales at a gym. She didn't go to college initially. She started in sales, transitioned into a bunch of different things. The headline that, when she sold it to L'Oreal was Denny's waitress, but she's done a lot of different things. She worked at a strip club as a waitress for a little while. She's worked at a gym in sales, put herself through college working part-time jobs. You name it, she's done it. And she had this dream because, she was a news anchor is what she did before It Cosmetics. And she had this dream of making a makeup line for women with skin issues because she has really bad rosacea on her cheeks, and worked really hard to launch it, and eventually sold it for 1.2 billion to L'Oreal, which I think at the time and may still be the highest sale price of a cosmetics company, and especially a woman-owned cosmetics company.
Yep.
She's now, I think now she does like a lot of motivational speaking and coaching. I don't know that she started another company per se, but that's her story. That's her background, and she's come a long way. She's come and she's determined. I'll give her that.
I
For
think
sure.
that was like the overall theme of the book too, is like going through like the personal journey of realizing that all of the no's that she received over the years of like promoting her makeup line and being like, no, people don't want to see everyday people as models for a makeup line. They want to see that aspirational, Barbie
Right,
on the cover
right.
that nobody's ever going to look like. And she stayed true to what she wanted her brand to represent. And once it took off in a big, big way. And I think that that's kind of a testament and kind of like the whole point of us reading the book too. Like, just like sometimes you just keep going and going and you're like, oh my God, they're not getting it. Nobody's getting it.
Yeah, and
Nobody's
sometimes
getting
like
it.
I think the one of the biggest takeaways for me is, and I feel like I go through this in cycles with my career and who I
Mm-hmm.
am, was but to just be yourself, because that will attract the audience and the customer base that you want. And she proved it many times. Like, one of my favorite stories in the book is how she had gone to an investor and asked them to invest. And they literally said to her, no one's going to buy makeup from a woman who looks like you with a body like yours. And when she sold to L'Oreal, that person called her and said, I'm sorry, I was wrong. And so I, at one point, had purple hair. And I remember someone saying to me, aren't you afraid people won't work with you because of your purple hair? And my response was, if people aren't going to work with me because of that, then I probably don't want to work with them. And when I went to that thing with Dustin Brome a couple weeks ago, that event with Dustin Brome, I had asked about the big deck energy video and was like, I can't put that on LinkedIn, can I? And he was like, absolutely you can. Like, that's going to set you apart on LinkedIn for, yeah, you can still be professional with it, but it's going to set you apart from other realtors who are just like, here's the statistics on today's market on LinkedIn, because they think they have to be dry there. And
Mm-hmm.
so it was just a really good reminder of like, not only do you need to be confident, but you need to know your self-worth and know who you are. And if you stick with that, I mean, unless you're an absolutely horrible person, you're going to attract the audience and the customer base that you want to work with, and they will support you.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Yeah.
Yeah.
And I
We had like a similar thing. Like when I first started, I think I've said on here about the realtor headshots. You know what I mean? Like I had such a fun picture that I loved, and it's like, oh, that's not professional. People aren't going to take you seriously. And I'm just like, huh, maybe that's the point, because
right.
for me, and we've talked about this too, like I connect with people that, I mean, look like me, I guess. You know what I mean? Like kind of running into the car line, just oh, not late, but pretty close to being late.
Right.
Like those kinds of people are my kinds of people. So me showing up in a three-piece suit and all at every listing appointment or every showing is not who I am as a person. And I think that my
Exactly.
clients connect better with me when it is like jeans and a t-shirt and a blazer. You know what I mean? I'm business this morning, but I'm going to the PTO meeting this afternoon.
Yes,
So
exactly.
it's just,
Exactly.
and the right people will connect with that. And that's, I think, that's what Jamie found out too. Eventually, you'll connect with the people that get it. And when you get it out in front of the people that get it, then it gets rapidly more progressive
Right.
and connects with a lot more people.
Yes. Yes. And you have to be authentic and vulnerable for sure. For sure. And like I've sold everything from a $25,000 piece of land to a $1.3 million house, which in our area is considered luxury, in
Hmm.
jeans. Like, yeah, I could show up in a three-piece suit, but I have a buyer on the line right now for 3.75 in jeans. So just be yourself. Like, I feel like we've
Yep.
said this so many times, but this book definitely leans into that. Um,
I think overcoming like the obstacles too. Like in the book she has like some different things that she would like tell herself, and like affirmations and things like that, that just like, I mean, you don't it doesn't feel good to be told no over and over and
right.
over and over, right? Um I think it was a bold, like a KW bold thing where they're telling you to like go for no, right? Because the more no's you get, the closer you are to a yes. But golly, it hurts my soul. You know what I mean? Like I can
Right.
only get told no. I don't believe in that word.
Right.
I can only be told no so many times before I'm like, fine, I don't want to do it anymore. And
Right. Or
that's a bad trait on my side, but
and
just reframing the no as an opportunity versus a rejection is, I think that's important too.
exactly. And um you mentioned, you touched on the affirmations, on how she does mirror work, which is where
Hmm.
like you say your affirmations in the mirror, so you're saying them to yourself. And she went a little woo woo with like hold yourself like a baby, and I was like, okay, you lost me at that point. But I do believe in affirmations, and it took me a long time to get there, because like I'm not the type who wants to stand in a crowd at a Tony Robbins event and be like, yeah, I am strong. Like no,
Not
take your
you? No.
take your church, keep it to yourself. You want to know how I do my affirmations? I can't believe
No,
I'm
but
going
I'm
to say
dying to
this
know.
on the podcast.
You gotta
So
out yourself.
every day when I get out of the shower, my little kitty cat is sitting there waiting because she's like
Hmm.
Velcro. And she is one of those, like, if I put like moisturizer on, she thinks she needs it. So I have to like pretend. Like when Oliver was sick, I had to pretend to give her fluids because she was like, aren't we all doing this right now?
Hmm.
So when I'm done with my towel, I pretend to dry her. And when I'm doing that, I say my affirmations to her, because saying them in the mirror just feels wonky. But like, okay, let's have a little pep talk together, little girl. Like, we're going to start the day on the same foot. And I will say, like, the days I do say my affirmations are the days I feel more confident in my business. And so, and we just do, you are kind, you are smart, you are strong, you are successful. Like, and we say it 4 or 5 times and it works. So, however you want to do it, if it's you need to do it to your cat, you want to do it in the mirror while looking at yourself. But I definitely think affirmations, positive thoughts, I firmly believe in positive energies. Like, I have a friend, I love them dearly. It's constantly negative, so I don't hang out with them as much anymore because I noticed it was pulling me in that direction. So I think the affirmations
Hmm.
are a good thing. I liked that portion, other than the pretend you're holding or envision yourself holding yourself like a baby as a baby. And I was like, okay, we lost me at that point.
Yeah, that's a lot. She mentioned Mel Robbins too when you do like the high five in the morning.
Yes.
Did that for a while too.
Yeah.
Something
I like
funky
Mel
about
Robbins
that.
high
But listen,
five.
I mean, if you're constantly saying like negative things, it starts to take root even if you're not saying them out loud. And there is something about saying things out loud that just sound different. I don't know. It's different. It's weird. But like if you think something in your head versus like saying it out loud, there is a difference. There's a difference.
Right. Right.
Cuz I have
And
like words and like goals and like your, you know what I mean, your vision board and stuff, and you're seeing it, which is great, but I don't know. There's something weird about speaking it out loud into an existence.
right. Yeah. Or like I used to have a daily affirmation journal and it would have you, or daily gratitude journal. It would ask you different things you were thankful for. And I was like, every day I was like, okay, my niece and nephew, my mom, my dog. That didn't work for me, but I like the affirmations of like, I am this, I am that. I can do these things. I think that works better for me. But do whatever works for you. If it's a daily gratitude or a daily affirmation, like, but definitely have those, or even just listening to like pick a podcast that maybe it's ours, maybe it's someone else's, but that puts you in that positive mindset in the morning. Listen to that first
Mm-hmm.
thing.
Yep.
Maybe it's church. I don't know. Whatever your thing is to give you that positive mindset, I definitely think is important.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the gratitude practice I've done. That's actually something when I was in therapy years ago. She was like, "You need to do gratitude." And I'm like, "I'm thankful for my house and my car and
Right.
like."
I was like,
But once you start doing it regularly, you're like, "Oh my god, I am grateful that I saw that yellow butterfly at the park today. Made me happy." I'm thankful that Food Lion brought back pumpkin spice creamer early. Like all of those things that you
you
start to
would
be
be
like,
thankful
"This
for
is."
that.
Well, I already have like my peppermint mocha for Christmas. Like they've kept that year round. So,
Yeah, I think that's just a regular now.
yeah,
Um,
they just adopted it now. So that's cool. I'm glad everybody's on board with Christmas year round. Speaking of which, 148 days till Christmas.
like I said the other
You're
day,
welcome. I love you.
keep your grubby little elf hands in your pockets until Halloween is over, please and thank you.
Oh my god, I'm so
And keep
excited.
your
Okay,
Halloween
anyways.
hands in your pockets until Labor Day is over. One at a time, people.
I know, you'd think I'd be more excited about Labor Day. Labor Day, my birthday is then. But I'm just like, oh my god,
Right?
Christmas.
Yeah.
Christmas.
Um, I think one of the things I really took from this book was like the business challenges and like how she kept hitting the no's and the setbacks. And I was thinking about that a lot. Like I'll admit I lost a referral this week. With everything going on in my life. And I don't know if we've ever talked about it here, but like I had a really sick cat who passed and then ended up traveling to go home. And this referral person told me, hey, we're not coming till September. We don't want to really be serious about it until then. And so I set the expectation of like, this is going to be very casual then. We'll talk now and then. I missed a text message, completely transparent, missed a message from them, didn't see it come in as I was driving. And they didn't even give me 12 hours to respond to it. They went back to the person who sent the referral and said, we want someone else. Okay. And like I was beating myself up, but then I remembered, wait, no, I got a client under contract while I was on vacation. I negotiated a repair request while I was on vacation. And I have 2 new buyers I'm meeting with this week. So maybe, yeah, it was a challenge and I felt like crap and I reached out to the referral partner and I was like, I'm sorry. I did have something going on and I missed a message, but it was 12 hours. And,
Mm-hmm.
but it still felt bad. So to me, with the stuff that she had encountered, like the QVC story, which is in the first book too, about how like she had to order so much product to even get on their show that it was literally going to bankrupt her and her husband if it didn't sell. And when you go on QVC, yes, you get a 10-minute segment, but if it's not selling fast enough within like the first
They
2
cut you
minutes,
off.
they cut your
Yep.
segment short. And so she sold out just before the 10 minutes ended. And like 2 minutes in, they're like, oh, we only have 200 of this shade left. And she's like, we had ordered 2,000 of that shade. So,
Mm-hmm.
at first that was a challenge for her because it was like, we have to put up a lot up front to make this happen. Um, and like getting investors and being told no, and lots of times being told, you don't look right. We're not going to, like, that was a big challenge. So just pushing through those things and having that breakthrough, um, it reminded me of like the times where I've felt that way. Like, I'm never gonna be able to do this. And then I look
Mm-hmm.
at my pipeline and I look at my, you know, different things happening or my tracker for the year. And I'm like, no, we're good. We may not be hitting the goals we wanted this year, but we've also hit some challenges in personal and business, and it's going to be okay. Like, we're still good. We're not dying. Come on now.
And just we've mentioned this too, like the biggest thing is we just keep moving forward, you know? And she talks about that in the book too, like when she would like want to curl up in bed and never crawl back out, you know? But if she had done that, where would she be? Because she has the speaking career that she has now because of her
Right.
makeup brand that she worked so many years, and like you said, like almost bankrupted her husband, like all of these things because she believed in something that nobody else believed in at the time. So I mean, and real estate's a little bit different, but you get the idea. Like, you keep putting out this information, it feels like people are either like, you know, hating on your Facebook posts about, gosh, real estate agents are the reason why house prices are so high. Seriously?
Right.
Uh-uh.
Right.
That's not true. But there are some people that are like, oh, really mean. And I'm like, oh wow. We woke up and chose violence this morning. That's good. But it's hard like to sometimes not take that stuff personally and you're like, oh yeah, yikes.
Right. Or sometimes it feels like
Humanity.
we're putting all this content, especially on social media, and trying not to be salesy, but it's like, is anyone listening? Is anyone reading this? And it was a good reminder. I went home this weekend and so many people were asking me questions. What's the market like there? I think I want to retire. Hey, I have a friend, or a friend from home was like, yeah, I talked to Quicken Loans and they said this. And I was like, whoa, stop. And so
Mm-hmm.
today, actually, let me write that on my to do list today. I need to connect them with a lender. And it may not be business for me, but it was nice to see that 4 years into this, people are looking at me as someone who has good knowledge on these topics, someone who is respected and they can come to for answers. And I know eventually, like someone even DM me on Facebook and was like, hey, one of our friends from high school just moved to Hawaii. They need to buy a house. Who do you know? And I was like,
Mm-hmm.
absolutely. Got it. So it will come. Keep doing the things and it will shift. And eventually you will be seen as the expert in that field.
And honestly, people suck, and me included. Like, you'll be scrolling, be like, oh yeah, that's cool, but I don't react to everything I see on social media. I don't comment on
Oh,
everything that I see on
hell
social
no.
media. But one I'm thinking of one instance in particular. Like, there was somebody that was looking for a real estate agent in one of the local Hickory groups, and one of my friends actually commented on it, tagged me, and was like, she just posted this super helpful thing about blah 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 blah. I forget what it was, but you should reach out to her. And I'm like, oh my god, she didn't like it, she didn't comment on it, you know what I mean, but she saw it. People are watching,
Right.
whether you realize it, whether they show up as engagement or, you know, anything on your dashboard or your profile, wonder if you're tracking your stats. But people are watching, people are out there, and if you show up consistently, that, I mean, consistency is the key. That's just how it is. That's why, like, man, when I take some time off, when we went and I worked the whole time I was in Massachusetts and Maine, but somehow I still feel like I fell off the wagon. And I didn't, but
Right.
gosh,
I feel
get that
like,
momentum back, because you get in a groove and then things are easy and they're just rolling and it's going. And then you're like, oh, a day off. And then you're like, wait, do I actually have to work for a living? Because,
yes.
huh.
So to give a little context, because I don't think we've just actually discussed this on the podcast. Brenna and I haven't recorded in 2 weeks because Brenna went on vacation for like a week and a half, and I went on vacation for a week. And in
And we didn't
between,
coordinate ahead of time. So we
no.
were like, she was leaving as I was coming back.
Right.
Yeah.
And also like I had some shit go down in the background, and but we kept it moving. But I will say, like, I also was given time to grieve, and that was great. Like, my clients all
Mm-hmm.
understood. I did the bare minimum those days, which was check email. Thank God for a transaction coordinator. And I didn't do the bare minimum at home. Well, I guess I did. I did the keep my transactions rolling at home. I wasn't prospecting, I wasn't doing those things. But my current business, kept an eye on it, kept it moving. And it was nice. But yes, I
Mm-hmm.
feel the same way. I'm like, all right, today we're back in the groove. We're rebuilding the calendar. Like, we've got shit to do now. We have to play catch up. We took a week off. Like, what were you
Yep.
thinking? I know the business is there. I have 2 new buyers I have to call today to set up. Hey, let's start looking. I have a buyer going under contract today. All those things. So it's fine. But I totally understand that. I also, one of the things I really liked in here was her talking about mentors and support systems.
Mm-hmm.
I see you, Brenna, as part of my support system because when we check in, and we're getting back to this today, of our daily tasks, we send each other a text message. even
We're
even when we were
supposed to send each other a
right,
text message.
even when we were gone, we did it every couple days. Like it was like, hey, this
Mm-hmm.
is what I'm working on today, but also that my checklist included a breakfast with dad, dinner at this, like we're
Mm-hmm.
going to this concert because those were important too. Like my personal things are important as well. But
Yep.
I loved that she touched on, you have to have a mentor and a support system. I feel like so many people get into our industry specifically and think, I'm just going to do it and I've got this. I did it. I was like, I don't need to talk to anybody. I know how to do this. No, I didn't. I had no idea. And I'm so thankful for the women who stepped up in my life and were like, let's maybe do this a little bit together because we're both kind of new. Or the other women who stepped up in my life who were like, hey, I've got 10 years under my belt. Let's get coffee.
Mm-hmm.
I am at a point where I feel like I can start giving that back a little bit. Um, but Jamie said she was like, buy them the coffee, buy them the lunch to pick their brain, offer to help with something, even if it's silly, like, hey, I don't have time to go get my dry cleaning. All right, let me go pick it up. Let me walk your dog. In exchange for, can I have 30 minutes to pick your brain? Mentors don't have to be a weekly check in, they don't have to be a structured system. It can be someone that you truly admire who has done what you want to do, which I think is very important. Stop listening to the girls on TikTok who haven't done what you want to do, especially
Mm-hmm.
the health and fitness ones. Um,
Well, I think that that's like it's especially with social media right now, everything is such a pretty facade, but that's what it is it's a facade. So people are like, "Oh, well, maybe." So, for instance, if you are a, military relocation specialist, right? But you see, like if I'm posting about first-time homebuyers or this specific working in this specific school district and it's working really well for me, and you're like, "Oh crap, maybe I should start working on like this area."
right.
But it's not true to you. Just like I couldn't be a military relocation specialist,
Yeah, I would have no
That's
idea what to
not
tell you.
my groove. So I think it's easy for people to see things online and be like, "Oh, wow, that's working. I need to do that." But it has nothing to do with who you are, what you love, what gets you up in the morning. You know what I mean? So
Yep,
and that just goes back to your self understanding, your self worth, like like knowing yourself, is
exactly.
ultimately like the first step. Because once you are real good friends with yourself, you can kind of put blinders on, not kind of, seriously put blinders on to all of the noise and everybody else being successful on their own paths. Stay in your own lane. You're running a different race. You're running a different course. It's just,
Yep.
it's easy to compare to other people, but I think that the key is to not. And it's easier said than done because there's one real estate agent that I've been obsessed with. She got her license pretty close to the same time I did. And God, she is just wonderful. Wonderful. And she's so successful and she just like does her thing and she's so authentic and down to earth and I'm just obsessed with her.
I think I know who you're
And
talking about, and I am too. Is her big thing
probably.
pink?
Yes.
Yep, yep,
God. Shout
yep.
out to Karen Newton.
Yeah,
Okay.
shout
If
out Karen Newman.
anybody,
She is killing it.
she is killing it. And if you need a real estate agent out that way,
Yes.
it's
Yeah. Or
Ashboro. Is it Ashboro?
I
Where is
think,
she?
yeah, I
I
think
think
she's
it's
out that
Ashboro,
way.
but God,
Or
she
if
is
you're looking for
amazing.
someone to inspire you from a distance, follow Karen Newton. Like, damn,
Yeah,
that
you
girl's
don't even
killing
have
it.
to be in this. She's not in the same technical like market as I am, but she shows every bit of the nitty gritty. Like, I am in here doing the thing. I don't like this isn't like the glamorous part of real estate. She shows the glamorous part, the listing shoots, the closing table, like all the things, but she also shows that she's up at 9:30 at night typing up offers because and missing out on a campfire outside because she's got work to do for her clients, and then she's going to go spend time with her
Right,
family. And that's the other
exactly.
thing too, is she makes sure that
Right.
my
Well,
family's taken care of.
and did you see her post, I don't know, a week or two ago? She's also transparent about like she lost a potential client because they
Hmm.
expected her to respond. I think it was on Mother's Day or
On
something.
Mother's
And she
Day.
was like,
Yep.
nah, bro. Like, now,
Hmm.
if it were an existing client who was having an issue, she probably would have taken care of it. But if you're reaching out saying we want to talk to you right now about listing our house and only today, no,
It's
she
hard.
also is very good about setting boundaries, and I respect her for that.
Hmm.
Because she's like, it's Mother's Day. I'm with my family. I remember I was bartending once, and someone wanted me to cover a Father's Day shift. And I was like, I already have plans with my family. No. And I had
Hmm.
told them no. And on Father's Day, I didn't show up to cover their shift because I had said no, and they didn't show up. So they got fired, and they came after me. And I was like, I told you I wouldn't. Just because you asked doesn't mean it's covered. But I was
Right.
like, I set that boundary. I'm with my family today. We'd had a recent death in the family. I'm not, no, I'm here. Sorry. Not
It's
sorry though.
important. Yes,
But
sorry. Sorry, not sorry.
what is your, we want to make this quickie, so we're going to wrap this up. What was your number one key takeaway from this book, and how do you think it could inspire readers to embrace their self-worth? Or how did it inspire you?
Well, I mean, and it's something that I think both of you and I knew already, but how like she put a good chunk, I think, in the very beginning of saying that self-worth is really the foundation to pursue and achieve, because if it's just like anything, if you build on something unstable, everything's unstable. Like, if you have a grounded, solid self-worth or belief of what you're working for, everything else, no matter how long it takes, no matter how you have to change it, tweak it, pivot, all the things, if you have that to fall back on, your self worth to fall back on, it will continue to keep going. So it's essential.
Yes.
Self worth is essential.
Mine is the difference between self-worth and confidence.
Oh, that was a good one.
Yeah,
I liked
and
that part.
I'm not going to tell you what it is. You got to read the book to look it up.
Gotta read the book.
But that it was that, and then it reaffirmed my purple hair was okay. I don't need to be in a 3-piece suit. I can be who I am and still sell $1 million listings. Um, so those are my two key takeaways, like the difference between confidence and self-worth,
Mm-hmm.
and be who I am. Just continue being who I am, and it will attract the right people. So,
Oh God, mic drop. Okay, well, I got my copy at Target. I've seen it at Barnes and Noble.
oh,
You can get it on Audible.
so I
Um,
did an Audible. It was great because I could listen to it while I was flying 80 miles an hour back from New York the other day. But the first time I started listening to it, actually, I texted you when you bought the book, and we were like, okay, we're going to do this. And I texted you and I said, I'm really struggling with listening to this. Um, but I got through it, and it's a good book. It's a good book. I will give her that. I will say though, if you've read Believe It, there's a
mhm.
lot of regurgitation in here. It
Yes.
used for different examples, but a lot of regurgitation. So just be prepared for that. Otherwise, it's a really great book, and I highly recommend it.
Great. All
All
right.
right.
We'll see you guys next week.
See you next week.
We just finished another episode of Contracts and Chaos, but believe me, the chaos does not stop here. So check out the show notes for our email address and where to follow us on socials, and we will see you next week.